Can you terminate your tenant's lease for any reason you want? Well, in most parts of our country, you can. I'll explain. I'm Hold It with PM Jen. The PM stands for Property Manager. Well over 2 decades of experience working with hundreds of investors to unlock the power of real estate investment. See, the power's in solving the problems, not selling them. So today the problem is you want to terminate a lease that you have on one of your properties. And this could be for any reason. Maybe you want to remodel it, move into it, sell it. You just want it empty. You're tired of the hassle. You don't want to work with this tenant anymore. Any of those are okay reasons to want to terminate your lease. Again, in most parts of this country, if your state or municipality has a rule about this, you better know it. But here in Pennsylvania, we don't. So this is the same as if your tenant wanted to terminate the lease. At its conclusion, or if you were in month-to-month status, remember, your tenant could give you notice at any time that they're no longer going to renew this lease with you. And they owe you no reason, right? They don't need to tell you that they got a new job in another state, or that they bought a house, or that they just don't care for you or trust you anymore. So the rights go both ways in this rental housing arrangement. It's my opinion that when the landlord is the one terminating the lease, as much notice as can be provided should be. 90 days is perfect. 60 days is really the minimum. Now, I don't always offer this, and if the owner's able to and can accommodate it when terminating a lease, if I'm giving 90 days notice to a tenant that, hey, in 90 days, your lease will no longer be renewed and you'll have to, move out and give us possession back. I like to give them the option that if you find something and want to terminate the lease earlier than that date, 90 days and away, we'll let you do that without penalty. What that allows the tenant to do is start looking for rental housing. And if they found something that they believed would work, that they found maybe too early, that they could take advantage of that. And that is a nice thing that you can do for them. And if you're able to accommodate that, I think you should. Now, the most important part of this video is the part I'm going to explain next. When you non-renew the lease, terminate the lease, what's really important to do is to never give a reason. See, you don't owe them a reason. And reasons are just something for them to fight about and get upset about. So if you said, oh, I want to move into it, or oh, I want my kid to move into it, or oh, I want to sell it, or oh, I want to remodel it, I got to be honest. You're starting to give them reasons that they're not entitled to. You're starting to announce plans that you might not follow through on. It's just unnecessary. My best professional opinion is that you give no reason. And you just simply say, I'm no longer able to offer the house for rent. I'm no longer going to offer the house to you to rent. And that's it. That's all you have to say. I'm no longer able to offer you the house to rent. I'm no longer able to renew this lease. That is all you need to do. And here's the part where people get stuck. They get stuck because they feel like the other person deserves an answer. And I want you to remember that you are not obligated to provide this house for them in perpetuity, and they're not obligated to rent it from you in perpetuity. So we have to keep in mind that these are rental arrangements. They are temporary. They are meant to begin and end with some frequency. Now you're asking me, hey Jen, what if I send that letter telling them 90 days ahead, I am not going to continue offering you the lease, and they don't move out? Well, if they don't move out, they would become what's called a holdover tenant. So holdover is the term we use when somebody remains in a property and no longer has the lease for it. The lease has been terminated and they're no longer actually on a lease there. So that is what we would go here in Pennsylvania and file a landlord tenant complaint for. And I've done it before, and basically you're going to the judge explaining the lease has been terminated and the tenant hasn't moved out and you're asking for possession of the property back. One thing I do in my lease, I make sure that when the rent goes to holdover, that the rent, or when the tenant goes into holdover status, the rent automatically raises to 150% of the lease amount. So if they were paying $1,000 rent, the rent is now automatically $1,500, designed to compensate the owner or landlord for the extra expense of having a tenant in there without a lease. Also to disincentivize the tenant from remaining in holdover status. It is all meant to just get compliance. As far as process at my company, we explain to people when we're expecting possession that if we don't receive it the following business day, we will begin eviction proceedings, and often that is an incentive for them to be motivated and comply with the terms of the lease. So being prepared to go to court as soon as possible once that violation of being in holdover starts is really important to getting a quicker resolution. I hope you enjoyed all my tips here on how to terminate a tenant's lease if you ever find yourself in the position where you need to. Follow me for more.